You will never hear them informing you that quiet has a sound. Rather than the kind that reverberates in your ears, it is the kind that weighs heavily in a space that you once considered to be your home. After a day in which everything seems routine, and perhaps even monotonous, the next day, something is not quite right, yet genuine and subtle. There is a difference in the way she laughs. Her contact seems to be rehearsed. As she smiles, her eyes are focused on something else. This is not necessarily on someone else, but it is most certainly not on you. It won't be long until you find yourself living with a woman that resembles your wife in appearance and sounds like your wife, but there is something about her spirit that has been disconnected. You are unaware of the changes that have taken place because she has not informed you. She is not going to. It's because she isn't even sure about it herself. However, I will tell you what is going on, even if she never does anything about it. The beginning of her fall occurred somewhere in the middle of the chaos that was her attempt to be everything to everyone. It was somewhere between the stretch marks and the school drop-offs. That is not far from you, away from her own company, and the version of her that is emerging, one that is more defiant, more restless, and more unpredictable, was buried under years of being needed but not seen. It seems like she never stopped giving. When she realized that the giving was no longer able to fill her, when it had ceased returning the glow, she looked around and became quite anxious, due to the fact that the mirror was honest. The girl that caused others to turn over was not the reflection that was staring back at her. In the moment that she entered a room, the woman did not experience a sense of invincibility. It was an older person here, someone who is not seen. Furthermore, she was not prepared for that. She had faith that she would have more time. She believed that getting older would be a gradual process, something that would be graceful and far away. It did not occur to her that it would destroy her identity. She was unaware that attention is a substance that's addicting. In addition to being a kind of affirmation, the feeling of being desired, appreciated, and chased was a form of oxygen. In addition, she was unable to breathe without it. Therefore, what does she do? She begins to feel the air around her, a fresh new garb, an additional touch of makeup, a hint of flirtation, a grin that is concealed. She has not yet given it a name. After all, it is completely harmless, right? Just for fun. Not even a spark. However, when you fan sparks, they can quickly become wildfires, and she does the same thing, in no way with malice, with a burning desire to succeed. Furthermore, it is not because she does not love you. The reason for this is because in order to love you, she must first remember how long ago she stopped loving herself. It seems like you are donating money to a charity each time you call her pretty. Nobody is to blame for this. The problem is not that she does not believe you. Rather, it is that she no longer believes what she sees with her own eyes. As a result, she begins to want for something that no husband can provide for her, the sensation of being brand new, wanted rather than loved, appointed by a person who does not owe her anything in particular. When she receives attention, even if it is only for a short period of time, it enlivens her in a manner that you haven't seen her in years. There is more to such attention than just flattery. Resurrection is the word, and from that point forward, she is relentlessly after that high. Perhaps she does not cheat on you. It's possible that she never deviates from the rules. On the other hand, the seed is planted, and your marriage will become a negotiation between sentimentality and temptation. During this time, you make a greater effort. You purchase flowers when you plan dates. The version of you that she used to adore is transformed into you. However, it is too late, because the version of her that fell in love with you is no longer present in this place. She is always changing, or at least that is what she refers to it. Yet better, rediscovering this, developing further. In order to justify the unraveling, words were dressed up. Erasing is what she ought to be doing in reality. She was erasing the years that she had given to a single man. When she made her decision to be with you, she was the woman she was. A life that you constructed one brick at a time. She is crafting a new story in its stead, one in which she is the victim of a life that has prevented her from achieving her full potential. She was the mastermind of her own escape. Because of this, you, her companion, her support, and her witness end up being the antagonist in her story of reinvention, because there is no other way that it can function. Unless she believes that you were the link in some manner, she cannot simply walk away from love, from stability, from children, and from a man who still sees the best in her. Because of this, she rewrites the memories. Those were not genuine, good moments. The love was contingent on certain conditions. The marriage was not motivated by romance, but rather by responsibility. All of a sudden, you are arguing against the concept of fiction, confronting the spirits. She was describing events that had never truly taken place because she had imagined them differently for the time being, and the entire globe will applaud her. The internet, her friends, and her feed are all expressing the same sentiment on the matter. Do not settle for less. It is not too late for you. The beginning is just around the corner. Be creative. Take back. Start over. They also provide her with a script. The purpose is not to cure, but rather to destroy. Use up all of it. Exit the room. Enjoy your freedom. And she decides to get it because she believes it will save her. They do not show her the consequences, but rather the before and after. In spite of the fact that they video the landing, they extol the leap. It is never explained to her what it is like to wake up in a new apartment where there are no children in the room next to her. The sensation that you get when your daughter stops calling you mommy as frequently, and the holidays are shared between the two of you. What happens to your spirit when the man who made you feel wanted begins to treat you in the same manner as every other woman he has scrolled past? As a devastating experience. However, by that point, the harm has already been done. As for you, the man who was there for her through every phase, every transformation, and every version of her, you are left to pick up the emotional rubble left behind by a woman who convinced herself that happiness lay on the other side of blowing everything up. In addition, I want to make it obvious that it is not just women. It is an excessive number. There are far too many people who confuse attention with affection, who choose confusion over constancy, and who mistakenly believe that the spark they experience in someone new is love when it is actually just novelty. This leaves them with feelings of shame, sorrow, and pride when the novelty of the situation wears off, as it usually does. Pride is a trait that never apologizes. For the sake of pride, I did what I had to do. I discovered who I am, declares pride. But you are aware of the reality. She was not disoriented. Simply put, she was nervous, apprehensive about becoming older, terrified of being unable to be seen, afraid that her most successful years were likely behind her. And because of that anxiety, she did not progress. Rather, she destroyed herself. You, on the other hand, were the unintended harm. Therefore, if you are a male who is reading this and wondering what took place, wondering how she changed so quickly, and wondering why the lady with whom you created a life is now a stranger who you sleep with, it is not your fault. Neither of you failed. It was not you that broke her. The move cannot be attributed to you. You had just arrived at the scene when it took place. When she looked in the mirror, she didn't want to see herself in it. The monotony that she misunderstood for a state of continuity. The dedication that she failed to differentiate from imprisonment. And all the time you were preoccupied with constructing something that would last forever. She was counting the years she believed she had left to experience life once again. The departure of her is not the tragic event. The tragedy is that she might never comprehend that she left the one place where she was actually loved for a feeling that was never intended to last. This is the tragedy. It will be too late by the time she realizes what she is doing, by the time the high wears off, and by the time reality finally sets in, not due to the fact that you will not return her. On the other hand, because something within you will have shut down. This is not out of resentment. On the other hand, from comprehension that the amount of love you give is not enough to match with the amount of love you receive from someone who refuses to grow old with you.